Excellent. Yeah. So Mark, we'll have you call the meeting to order and do a roll call.
This is the Salary Commission meeting for October 16th in City Hall. Uh, Like to call to order, roll call. Jim? Aaron?
Here.
All here. Agenda approval. Would like to have a motion to approve the agenda. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The agenda is approved. Any public comments? None in chamber. Any online? None online. Good. Appointment of chair. I guess we already did that. Jim and I talked about it.
Rock, paper, scissors.
Yep, and no, it was a straw. I got the short straw, but
There we go.
yeah, but I also had paper
And
and
so
he
we'll
had
want to,
scissors. So
we'll want to memorialize that with a motion.
Yeah, so make a motion that Mark take the place of Joan as the new head of the salary commission.
I'll make a second to that motion.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Nay. No. Aye. Okay, it goes. Okay, thanks, guys. I'm gonna hand this over to Mr. Dixon and have him review the salary commission data. Do you have a copy of everything, Aaron?
I was just looking for it. I don't know that I have. I don't know that did you send it via email, Kyle?
Yeah. So let me, I
Okay.
can track that down and resend that. Yeah, we can do that too. So
Yeah, I'm not seeing it for some reason.
the slides.
Yeah, I'm not seeing those.
No worries. We'll get it up on the screen here in a sec.
Yeah, I think one is make sure you don't send it to because I don't know if it's reactivated the libertylake.gov email address.
Sounds good.
If it was going there, I don't have it. I need to get it reopened. So, or at least put it into my Outlook. I don't know that if it went there, I don't know that I got it.
All right. Sounds good. So Aaron, we'll just kind of take you through really our data collection method, why the spreadsheet looks the way it does.
Yep.
And so really, so the Salary Commission reformed, I want to say in 2020 or 2021. It had been dormant for about 7 years. But essentially, we have an authorizing ordinance that puts together an objective, a job role, identifies market data, and has kind of the bones to make a recommendation. And so the Salary Commission reviews the updates to the Association of Washington Cities Salary and Benefit Survey. That gets released usually at the very end. It's the end of August, beginning of September. And it's trailing 1 year. So it's 2025 data that
Right.
we're then putting into a recommendation for salaries that take effect January 1st, 2026. If you want to go to the next slide, please, Evan. And so the goal of the Salary Commission is to base salaries of elected officials on realistic standards so that elected officials may be paid according to the duties of their offices and so that citizens of the highest quality may be attracted to public service. This is, de facto mission statement of the Salary Commission. And obviously the philosophy is to attract top candidates, pay fair compensation for work in compliance with statutory requirements. Next slide.
So that
please.
ordinance was approved by the council and it's part of the City of Liberty Lake ordinance.
That is correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. And so the role description for mayor and council members is identified in the handbook that is published by the Association of Washington Cities and Municipal Research and Services Center of Washington. We'll get more into that on the next slide, please, Evan. And so what does that mean? So our survey data is Washington state cities and towns. The job titles specifically are mayor and council member, and the data is based on comparison of like jobs, obviously not professional jobs or hourly rates. So our parameters that we have identified, our pool of data that we evaluate, are populations between 10 and 30,000. Form of government must be mayor, council, specifically strong mayor. There are 3 or 4 different prevalent forms of government. We were just talking earlier about Spokane Valley. Aaron, is a council manager form. That's another very common one where
Right.
the council is elected, and then amongst the council, a mayor is then appointed. And so that's a much different job description than what we have here, where essentially the mayor is the CEO of the city.
Right.
And so from that pool of data, we removed mayors that were full-time or benefits eligible because there's just different job descriptions from city to city. And some cities expect their mayor to be in the office for 40 plus hours a week, and that is their primary focus. Obviously, ours is, our mayor is an elected official and serves kind of in a capacity that they are able to with their other obligations. And so that doesn't preclude a mayor from this being their only job, but the candidates that we attract and the pay is much more in line with most other cities where this is what we would call a secondary source of income, and they have primary responsibilities outside of this.
Yep.
And so as we get into the spreadsheet, you'll see the column to the far right has a component where we account for mayor and council salaries that have not increased year over year, and we're aging that data with a rolling 10-year inflation rate. And so you'll see entities when we start reviewing the data where they haven't made any movement for 10 years, or they haven't made any movement for 3 years. And so we have specific circumstances to account for that to make sure that the data that we are collecting is what we're trying, the output is what we're trying to achieve. And we'll get into that here a little bit more further. And again, we'll talk about this. So last year was the first year we did this. We removed entities with no adjustments in the previous 4 years because we found that was skewing a lot of the data that we had. We have a rolling inflation percentage of 2.6, but what we see plenty of these entities that they haven't made any adjustments in 10 plus years. And so the salary commission was formed specifically so that Liberty Lake wouldn't fall into one of those entities.
Mm-hmm.
You'll see, I don't think Cheney's increased theirs in almost like
2014 says
yeah,
right here.
so 11 years. And obviously, I think the issue that local government runs into is if you do not have a salary commission or an independent third body evaluating and making those decisions, it's hard for the body themselves to make those adjustments. And because I think just the optics in general don't look great. If an entity is giving its elected officials that make the decision double-digit increases or these outsized increases, obviously that would erode trust amongst the residents. And so you see cities fall into this predicament where they're afraid to make any adjustment because of the optics of it. And so
they just kind of stay put, even though they probably should make an adjustment.
Yeah, they should be increasing because obviously I think the goal of any city is to attract participation in local government. And I think if you have wages that have been stagnant for 10, 12, 15 years, you're limiting yourself on the pool of interested applicants within your jurisdiction. So
Yep. 100%.
Yep. And so next slide, please, Evan. And so what we get into here, if you can blow this up as much as you can, it's tough. This is going to be tough to see. I will have
I can see that. That's good.
Okay, great. Yeah. And so I have this printed out on tabloid sheets here as well. And so this is kind of our base of operations, which we operate out of. And so what you can see here is so we update this data every year. And you can see the cities on the left are in our data pool. These are strong mayor council forms of government. Oh, yeah.
I'm trying to recall if we made a conscious decision not to include any entity from Idaho. Now, the only thing I can think of is, both Post Falls and Coeur d'Alene, the population would be outside the parameter. Sandpoint may be inside the parameter, but I just don't remember if we made a conscious decision to exclude any cities from Idaho in the analysis. Do you remember?
I don't know that we
I
did.
don't
and
think we did.
think the
Uh-uh.
rationale was that I think we started with the job description and we started with really AWC and MRSC, which
Yeah.
are Washington-based entities.
So it'd be hard to say that even applies to anything.
Correct. And so there would be assumptions made that, okay, if they are a strong mayor form of government, we could make some assumptions that maybe generally the duties are similar. And I don't think it would hurt anything just to do a spot check.
That's what I was just gonna say. Could you reach out to
Yeah.
Sandpoint, Bonners,
Yeah,
maybe a
'cause
couple
it's
of those?
relatively easy. It's relatively easy. It's- We can obviously, the form of government is easy to identify, population's easy to
About
identify.
Post Falls, where are they
Uh,
population wise?
Post Falls likely would fall
About 40,
with
50K?
Yeah,
within, I would say that I would think they're about 20,000.
I think maybe that was last year. I don't, let's throw in Post Falls too.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay.
So, and yeah, that was, I might be way off on that because I didn't know,
38,000.
38,000?
38. Yeah.
Okay.
That's why I thought. Post
So they're
Falls.
outside
they're outside
and so
the
Coeur d'Alene's
limit.
outside.
Right.
We can still look though.
Let's just see.
Absolutely. And so Aaron, what you see here on the left is all the cities that report their wages and that kind of fall within the parameters that we're looking for. And so at the very bottom, you can see Liberty Lakes numbers. And just for informational, we started including this a couple of years ago. Just where Spokane Valley lies, they do not have the same form of government as we do, but they're our neighbor, and it's good to know what our neighbors are doing. And so,
Yeah.
so they're a council manager form of government, and so obviously their council is going to be paid more than our council. But the rate of increase on the mayor is a lot smaller. Just because their duties are very similar. And so there's added expectations as being the mayor, but not anywhere similar to a strong mayor form of government.
Yeah. So the one thing just to keep in mind is you guys are, contemplating who to pull into the market level data when you talk about like the Idaho cities and those types of things. Is also, it's just like any sort of survey data when you're doing salary analysis. Cost of living also has to be included in that kind of conversation. So if we're looking at like a Bonners Ferry, for instance, cost of living is going to be significantly different than it is in Liberty Lake based on housing and everything else. So while interesting and maybe helpful, it also may be may have the data look skewed, right? So it's like, okay, if we're pulling in cities that have similar populations, but their cost of living is a third of what it is here, and their pay structure, mayor and council, is on the low end, it may seem that Liberty Lake is overpaying, so to speak, when in all reality it's trying to take in all of those factors. It's just like any job or any company. It's like we've got to take in all of those factors, and cost of living has to be included in that kind of conversation too. If we're using the other benchmark cities, making sure that it's as much apples to apples. It's like if we're hiring someone that's going to live in Seattle, you're going to have to pay them more,
Right?
Because the cost of living is significantly more than it is over here on this side of the state. So it's just I would just say caution against just using population as a determining factor of whether we use them as a benchmark city to do analysis off of.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. And
Yeah.
so maybe in the spirit of just seeing what our neighbors are doing, maybe Post Falls is the one just to see where they're at.
Just curiosity. Yeah.
Sure. Certainly.
I think it's like there's nothing wrong with like grabbing other cities and going, hey, let's see what the other ones are doing, but maybe they're not the ones that we're gonna
Right.
use as a as a, as a true benchmark against a recommendation.
I agree.
Yep.
Yep.
Kind of like,
Let's
kind of like
just-
Spokane Valley is down there. I mean,
Let's just plan on Post Falls.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah.
So,
That makes a
and
good
yep,
point.
and I'll bring that information back to our next meeting.
Okay.
And so, so Aaron, some of the discussion last year revolved around some consistent increases and also removing some of the data. So we removed Cheney, Enumclaw, Bonnie Lake, and
That's
Yelm
right.
and DuPont from our pool of consideration. Because of what we touched on before, they're starting to become stagnant. And, we had been including them in the age data, just assuming, I think last year was a 2.5 rolling 10-year average. So it was 2.7 this year. That bumped us up to 2.6 for our rolling 10-year. And so that skewed a little bit of the average to where the data showed that we would to match the mayor age compensation, we would increase that by 15%. And so the decision of the salary commission last year was to take kind of a 2-year approach, wait and see. And so we increased the mayor's salary 7% in 2025, with the understanding that we'd review again and see kind of where some of this stuff fell. And so if you'll see over on the right side in kind of that light red highlight, these are identifying the specific increases that happened in 2025. And so 2025, we found a couple of outliers that are not normal. And so I verified with all of Monroe. The mayor compensation increased $400 a month in 2025. Ferndale increased $1,800 a month. And so I was able to get them on the phone. They have a little bit of a different circumstance. So their mayor is elected and then they sign a contract. And so that is kind of outside of the norm. And so that contract was increased significantly in 2025. All of their parameters, they are not full-time, so they're part-time. They're expected to be in the office generally about 25 to 30 hours a week. But their straight compensation just rose by that much. So obviously that's going to skew what we see in our data pool. And then I also verified with Sumner that they had substantial increases, obviously both on mayor and council. But those core decision points, not full-time, not benefits eligible, did not change. And so what you'll see here on the bottom, so right under DuPont there, we have the average of the mayor's compensation. We have the average of that age compensation in that cell to the right. And then just below that, you'll see what we're currently at. And so our current mayor salary is $26.75 a month. And that was updated last year. And so if we age that data, just a simple 365 days, that age compensation based on our rolling 10-year inflation rate would be $28.76 for 2026. Not taking into account anything else, but obviously you can see the mayor age compensation from our data pool has increased as well. And so you can see that if nothing else is done, we're starting to fall behind some of our peers that we've kind of benchmarked against.
One thing, I got a question though.
Yeah.
Are you recommending that we may pull Ferndale and Sumner out to reevaluate because of their differences?
So we did that. So Aaron, we pulled out West Richland a couple years ago because I think they were at 6,000, I want to say.
Well, they're similar to what
6,000.
Ferndale did, yeah.
And so that became but we subsequently found out that that mayor is now full-time. And so they would have been removed anyways. But there's certainly discussion if the commission wants to consider kind of these outliers that may be outside of kind of the standard deviation, if we want to remove them from consideration, or exactly how we want to handle those individually.
Well, Ferndale, like you said, it's a little different than what we were comparing here.
Right.
Because our mayor does not have to sign a contract.
Right.
She just gets a wage. And, and it's set at whatever we decide to set it. So I'm thinking, and I see what Jim and Aaron think, but I'm thinking we ought to, at least eliminate Ferndale from the equation and reevaluate from there.
I'm looking at the data again. I don't know. I mean,
Where is Ferndale? I know, but
It's
it's Western Washington.
It's Western.
north is it, no, south of Seattle?
I'll pull it up right now.
Oh,
yeah.
It's north of Bellingham,
Oh, it's way
Okay,
up,
so yeah.
Way there,
way up north.
almost Canada.
almost
Yeah.
Canada.
That's right. I'm like, it sounded really familiar, and I was like, oh yeah, I remember why.
It's almost Canada.
I mean, it's probably 45 minutes from the Canadian border.
Right.
I mean, I guess I'm on the fence. I would say, at least in the short term, until we look at the data a little bit more, I would say leave Ferndale in. Even if it pulls as an outlier, it's an outlier. And even though they do a contract, the structure is still the same. I guess I would look at it more from, if we can line up the demographics, the structure, like mayor council, not like the Spokane Valley model, like you were saying. But if we can line up, more of the demographics, cost of living, size, and structure, how they execute that and what that looks like from a exact compensation and package, can still be variable. And I think that's okay. I don't think, that's where I would lean towards. I would be less inclined to remove the outliers on the low or the high end. I'd be more amped to say, let's leave them in there. Because when you just from a data analysis perspective, you're going to have the lows and the highs, and you want that, right? It's like grading on a curve, It's like you want the lows and the highs, you want to find your midpoint, and you want to, find a place that makes sense based on those variety of factors, but understanding that everybody's going to be a little bit different, as far as how they want to navigate it and what that decision looks like. But I think it's important to have the bookends. With that, just like, just like any salary structure, right? So it's like your low to high, like the bottom end of a pay structure, let's say, is $100,000 for somebody, right? But the top end for that same job might be $160,000. So there's a huge variance, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's not a negative. Like, not everybody needs to be in the same pocket. It's just saying, hey, well, here's our bucket and our strategic bumpers to stay within, and things we're going to monitor, and are we somewhere on that curve that we're comfortable with, based on the data that's there.
Yeah. Did you include Cheney in the numbers?
So Cheney is included here. They are not included in our average. And so
The Cheney numbers are not included in the 3071 average?
that is correct.
Anything red isn't, right?
Right. And so that was based on our discussion, I believe it was last year,
Yeah.
on removing those.
Why all the blanks, like for Oak Harbor, Snoqualmie, Port Archer, they're
Full-time mayor.
So yeah, so we.
I got it.
Yep,
I
gotcha.
got it. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, and there's just so many other variables that potentially could impact compensation. For example, in Liberty Lake, the mayor or the city has its own police department. And maybe these cities have their own police department, their own fire department. They
Yep.
maybe have a lot of other departments that Liberty Lake does or does not, or that the mayor of the city does or does not manage.
Right.
I'm okay to leave the, to leave in the outliers. I think as just as a data point, yeah, what would it look like without? Just
Certainly.
a FYI
Yep.
kind of thing.
Absolutely.
Just so you get an idea of how much the outlier is skewing.
Sure.
I don't think it's going to be much,
That, at all.
but let's just see.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, yep. Well, I'll bring kind of parallel considerations to our next meeting.
Yeah.
And so I know you just got your eyes on this, Aaron, and it'll take some time. We will have some meetings downstream of this before any actual recommendation, I think, is made amongst the commission.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, and so generally speaking, if we have kind of 3 returning commissioners that are relatively kind of versed in the process, I think we had 3 meetings a year was about our average.
2 or 3.
And so sometimes it was 2. And so with one of those meetings being a public hearing, and the public hearing is really our official,
That's right.
these are the rates that are going to be effective January 1st.
Yeah,
Well,
so
from
at the very beginning, we did an interview of all the
Right.
council
Yeah.
members and the mayor to get an idea of how they're lining up with the Washington State regs.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Yep.
That was fine.
But I think in this case, I think we ought to put together at least 3 separate
Sure.
spreadsheets, one that we've got right now,
Yep.
one without Ferndale and Sumner.
Yep.
And then one with Post Falls.
Okay.
Just curiosity, just for curiosity. You may throw Post Falls into this one here with Ferndale and Sumner, and then one with Post Falls without them.
Okay.
Well, I kind of like to, for Post Falls, I kind of think that falls into the category of information only.
You think so?
I
Okay,
do.
Yeah, sure.
yeah,
Let's,
okay, let's do that.
it's just, the only reason I mentioned Post Falls is to understand a little bit what our
What
neighbors
our
are
neighbors are
doing.
doing.
Right.
no, I think that's good.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's similar to Spokane Valley. Yeah, so. Excellent. So
Have you talked to anybody from Cheney to see what's up over there?
it's essentially they're kind of mired in this, we don't want to talk about it. So it's just
Yeah,
gonna be.
you know, one of the fastest growing areas in the
Yeah.
state, and
Yeah.
yet they're only paying their mayor $1,500.
And so, and that's
Wow.
the issue. And Cheney is not alone in this.
Yeah.
You'll see a lot of these cities just they're afraid to do anything because of the optics. And so that's why I think a salary
Okay.
commission is really important
Yep.
because it takes the decision out of their hands. So,
Yeah, that impartiality is impartiality and transparency.
yes.
No.
Yep.
Yeah,
Anything additional, Aaron, you want to see on this as we before we move on to scheduling an upcoming meeting?
no, I mean, so just, kind of from yours, just so you understand my background as well. I've done compensation and analysis before for organizations, so I've got some of that background, and some data analysis background. So depending on what you want to do as far as presenting an analysis of the data, depending beyond just, the typical spreadsheet, if there's something more you want to create or we want to potentially put together, be happy to help with that and do that.
Okay.
Because it's always one of those things. Like, I mean, data can be helpful, but we can also, kind of skew us in some directions. And, sometimes, we can all get stuck in different areas looking at different pieces. So if there's a different lens that might be helpful for us as a commission and or the residents and the community members who are going to want to see it eventually, because I'm sure some will, right? And then obviously council, they're going to want to see the information and the data. If there's something else that would be helpful, I'd be happy to help kind of pull some stuff together on the analysis side as well.
I think what would be helpful is that we show the the increase, and I'm talking just for the city of Liberty Lake.
Yeah.
We showed the increase from last year.
Sure.
Can you, maybe can you show 5 years of increase?
Yeah. Certainly.
Because I know there was a period of, let's say the increases since the formation
Of us.
of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there was a period of, what,
10
10
years?
years where
Yeah.
there were
Yep,
no
nothing.
increases.
And that's
Nothing.
exactly. And so, yep.
So let's make that point. Prior to our formation, there wasn't any increases for blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Let's show what increases we've recommended.
Excellent.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, certainly do that.
Okay, before we schedule our upcoming meeting, what's our drop dead time that we have to have this done? When is the budget meetings and all that?
So the budget binders will be put together, and those will be delivered next week. That is completely okay. We will adopt the budget, either the first or second meeting in December.
Okay,
And so anytime before that is fine.
so we're looking at sometime within November.
Yeah, and our general cadence is 2 to 3 meetings spread amongst, once we start, we go through them pretty
Mhm.
quick. So I think once we knew that this date was on the calendar, I was anticipating us being wrapped up probably by the second or third week of November.
Okay, so Jim, Aaron, how does 2 weeks from today at 11 o'clock sound to you guys?
Oh, I don't have my calendar with me, but I was gonna say, let's get together next week. Let's get this done. Got other stuff going on.
Sure. Next, I was trying to be,
I
I
know.
was being a nice
I
guy.
could've put together a lot of additional information.
No.
It's not much. Let's just,
About 23rd, Aaron?
let me just take a quick look.
Yep. And so the 23rd, I'm in meetings until noon.
Okay.
But anytime, go ahead, Aaron.
Oh, I could do in the afternoon. Anytime after 12:01 is totally fine.
1 o'clock.
Okay.
No, I've got it. Physical therapy. What about 3 o'clock?
3 o'clock.
3 o'clock works for me.
3
Aaron?
o'clock works for me.
I'm using math. Hold on. Yeah, 3 o'clock. I can make 3 o'clock work.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, good.
Excellent. All right. So we will reconvene next Thursday at 3
3
o'clock.
o'clock.
Great.
And if
Motion
there's,
to, okay.
yeah.
Anything else?
Nope.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Favor,
All right.
aye,
we're adjourned at
aye.
12:16. Thanks, everyone.
Have a good one, guys.
You're gonna send out a